Tesszel interaktív installáció. Pavel Janicki at WRO Center Group. A kiállítást megnyitotta Szilágyi Róza Tekla kurátor. Az installáció Buckminster Fuller monumentális, a Montreali Expo 67-re készült kupolajára reflektál. Fuller a Földet egy kozmoszt átszelő homeostatként fogta fel, az emberiség túlélési esélyeit pedig attól tette függővé, hogy az megtartja-e belső egyensúlyát és képességét arra, hogy támogassa saját alkotóelemeit. Tesszel azáltal fedezi fel Fuller geometriai felosztását, hogy a földgolyó távolból látható képét mutatja, amely folyamatosan dekonstruálódik. A tesszel egy háromszögekre osztott gömbölyű forma, tesszelizáció, ami reagál a közönség mozdulataira a monitorozott helyen, olyan módon, hogy a mozdulatok dinamikáját átveszik a háromszögek. A gömbszerű tér keretstruktúrájára rávetítik a valós idejű képet, reflektálva a közvetlen környezetre és rejtélyes fényjelenségekkel vegyítve a videó képét. Ez az installáció szimultán működik mind Wroclawban, mind Varsóban. Mindkét helyszín telematikusan kapcsolódik, tehát a mobileszközök interfészén keresztül küldött üzenetek hozzájárulnak az installációhoz.
So, could you just tell me about what was the trigger when you started this project and how did this project emerged into being an installation?
There was actually no single trigger for the installation. There was a few. Actually, one very important factor was that in Wro Art Center, which is an art institution I connected with, we was working on Buckminster Fuller's ideas a bit earlier. We was even make a small exhibition devoted to him. Another trigger was a few months earlier. I was working on this small object which was covered by Fuller's dome. So I make a lot of calculation how to make this dome, because it's actually, from practical point of view, it's very complicated. It's very simple theory behind the Fuller's dome, but if you want to make this at home, it's horribly complicated. So I make all those calculations, some basic software for visualization of the dome and of the sphere. And in the same time, that was maybe more funny, my colleague make by accident very simple video from his phone. He put the phone to the pocket and phone was switched on, actually camera was switched on, and in the same time covered by the pocket, so that was just a nice blinks of lights on the video. And when we put everything together, I mean the Fuller's geometry and this video, we discovered that there is a really nice visual effect in result. So we decide, okay, that's nice begin. We can make something around that to build on top of that. And we will start to think in the whole team about the Fuller. We was thinking about his actually his main idea. One was the dome, and geometry actually, and the second one was his idea of spaceship Earth. So spaceship Earth is a philosophical concept derived from the constructions actually, because Fuller was treating the whole planet, the biosphere, as a system of simple things connected together, and when we messing with one element, we can destroy the whole thing. So that is the main idea behind the installation.
And as you told me about the ideological background, I'm really interested in how did this outcome come together, because you told me before that you were the one who programmed the whole system, and we also have a web page. So could you tell me about it, maybe how did you work on it and how long did it take to put this thing together? It's
very hard to say how long, because I was working I think something about the year on that, but I was also working on different projects, so I was not concentrated only on this one. And programming is, of course, from one point of view, really boring part because you have to just sit in front of computer and just writing code. But from the other hand, there is really nice connection between the Fuller and software. Actually, making software as part of artwork is the way I'm working on typically. But a few years ago, I was starting to search for a bit different ideas, maybe to not be concentrated only on coding. And if we are watching or reading texts by Fuller, he was actually thinking about physical things in the same way how the programming artist thinking about code. For example, he was really concentrated on converting complex problems and complex shapes into sets of small unified elements, and he was trying to describe relations between elements in the simple way. So it's kind working on the Fuller's ideas. It's actually like trying to make programming touchable. So it's very interesting actually.
And how did you ended up programming and coding?
Yeah.
And how did you decide that you want to bring this thinking into conceptual contemporary art? I'm really curious, how did that happen?
It's as usual in my case. There was no one moment because I'm just trying to experiment with various things, and really I making a lot of things which are not from beginning devoted to public. Actually, I'm just trying to test some ideas, and if they are interesting and if they are convertible to exhibition space, I'm turning them into artworks. But I think it's not nice strategy because if you are just trying to do things you are interested in, it's much better to make things because you have to show something. So it's comfortable situation. Not always you have this kind of comfort, but if you can go this way, it's very fruitable.
And there is an extra element in this installation, which is the sound.
Yeah.
And there is a new technique involved. So if you could tell me about that technique, it might be interesting for others to know about.
Yeah. There is a sound in the installation, and this sound, it's not a pre-recorded soundtrack. It's also not something which is based on samples. There is actually no pre-recorded material. Everything is calculated in real time, so it's generative and partly interactive music and sounds. This soundtrack is, or maybe sound engine, is based on very new sound synthesis technique, actually developed a few months ago, I think. So there is no commercial instruments yet, or maybe they are, but I don't know about that, using this technique. But I think it's very interesting, and this is something that will be really hype technique in upcoming months, I think. It's a sound synthesis based on very simple rules. So if somebody is interested in making his own or her own instruments, that way is rather simple. But it's a mixture of analog and digital ideas. So the sound is very unique. It's not typical synthesis. It's also not typical digital manipulation. It's actually something you can you should hear, because it's very hard to describe that sound.
And as your installation is on view for like long weeks, do you ever monitor what happens when people shape how it looks, or do you ever look back on what happened, or you just let it go and leave it work?
The first thing is the installation has a network components that can be controlled from the movements, from the body movements, but also by using mobile devices. So you have a basic access to the data and how the people is using the installation. And yes, I'm really curious, really interested how it works, especially in longer time perspective, because the installation is new. In this version, actually, will be showed first time. So it's really, really valuable information to analyze how the people are working with that. I really don't know. I have no special ideas how the people will be reacting for that, because what I'm trying to do always is to put myself and audience in the situation which is new. So we will see.
And as you told me like before, this is the first place where we see this specific installation, but your idea has a longer story, and you had 2 venues before where you presented an artwork similar to this one. Could you tell me about those installations, because I'm curious what's before?
Yeah, the first previous version was actually concentrated on one screen and one object, virtual object in the place. But because I spent last month in Shenzhen in China, I was working with my colleague who's specialized in calligraphy, and we was discussing Chinese calligraphy a lot. And one of very special factors of the calligraphy is that single pictogram may be built from smaller images of a few things or one things seen from a different perspective. So that's very, very interesting situation, because this kind of thinking about picturing natural objects now is actually maybe exists only in technical or 3D technical papers, not in not in our common experience. So because the 3D is basically connected to computers, to digital technique, it's interesting that somebody 3 or 5, maybe even 5,000 years ago discovered the same way for making images, actually describing reality. So I decide, okay, that's nice start point, and I prepared this version of the installation with the same basic objects, but seen simultaneously from 2 different perspectives. So it's synchronous. In the same time, we see the same objects in 2 time-space continuous.
And I have only one question left. As you told me, there is a web page where like visitors can also use. But do you ever feel like using the web page and like shaping your own installation and like put something in what you like, or you never use it, you just watch how others
I'm using it. I have a lot of fun with that, and I still feel that there is a lot of strategies which are connected to this kind of interaction, which are very interesting. So actually, if you are working on interactive installations, you can very quickly see that you have some people that, for example, afraid using her own bodies for interaction, because there is a kind of shame, something, I don't know. And of course, there's also a lot of people that enjoy with this kind of interaction. But for those who don't want to engage their bodies, they can use mobile devices. And if you connect one and second type of interaction in one piece, there is really, really complex structure. So even if the interaction with one or two or second method is simple, the connection between both of them is interesting. So, yes, I'm using also this web page sometimes. Sometimes it's very funny because when you see somebody who's manipulating the installation, you can make for him kind of a joke to remotely make something strange to shock him. That's actually the story behind it. It's very simple because when I was leading workshops a few years ago on Art University in Poznan, it's one of the important academic centers in Poland. There was a student who was really joker, and he found a method how to hack my computer. So when I prepared the presentation and when I was changing slides, he was changing behavior on my computer. And I was really surprised, what the hell is going on? Because the presentation was going backwards and forwards. And finally I discovered, okay, that's a nice idea. So this is something I can use in my installations too.
Yeah, you have a good sense of humor, it seems. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
For this interview.
Thank you.